This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report. I am Jeff Carl alongside Anthony Mormino. Thank you for joining us on this very moderate Thursday morning here in the Capital Region. Temperatures moving up a little bit. Within this hour, Anthony's going to give you his selections for today's 10-race Gulfstream Park card. At the bottom of the hour, I'll give you my selections for today's Aqueduct card. But we wanted to let you know that with the upcoming closure of Hollywood Park, this coming Sunday will be their final day of this storied and hallowed racetrack. We all know it's going to be closed down after Sunday's races. And then to honor this storied racetrack, Capital OTB is going to be offering to the first 100 patrons that come to our race book here at 711 Central Avenue a retrospective DVD. The first 100 patrons that come to the race book on Sunday will receive this DVD. Anthony, you selected 15 of the races that are going to be on this DVD. Can you give our patrons a little insight about what they could expect to see?
Well, in over the last 30 or 40 years, especially, I mean, we're marking the 75th anniversary. We have Seabiscuit, you have Citation, you have Dr. Fager, you have Native Diver through the years. But really, in what almost would call the modern era, the Breeders' Cup, we've taken a look at some of the races that I think have, whether it was historical performance, whether it was historical racehorse, put together in a descending order, 15 to number 1. And I think some will ring a bell with some folks. If you happen to look at the Daily Racing Form, DRF.com, they put a top 25, I think, together. I thought there was a couple of glaring omissions from yours truly, and I slid my own in. Obviously, probably 2/3 of them overlapped with a little different order, but I think for many of our viewers, they will hearken back to the horses or the moment, and I think for a few of the races, it'll be like, the old Johnny Carson line. I did not know that, but we go all the way down to number 1. I will say this. Number 1 was very, very easy. My methodology was I took all the races I thought about, and then I just paired it out. It's like going to Fridays and they start telling you all the dressings for their salads, and each time you hear one you like, and then you wait to get superseded. Well, that's what I did. And number 1 was easy, and number 2, I will say, was easy. And I will say something about number 2. It isn't even on the Daily Racing Form list, which is shocking, but you should enjoy it. And Mick Richards, trust me, did the heavy lifting. My part was easy, especially as long as I still have the noggin upstairs to remember it. But Mick Richards had the heavy lifting, put together a brilliant, brilliant production of the top 15 races based on yours truly's opinion over the last 75 years at Hollywood Park. And today, they will draw that final card. Boo-hoo.
Absolutely. And once again, the first 100 patrons to come here to the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, not only do you enjoy the atmosphere here, you're also going to get that retrospective DVD from Hollywood Park. So, Anthony, we have 10 races to get through.
One other thing?
One other thing before we get into our handicap.
Today.
Okay.
You're not supposed to plug yourself in life. All right.
I thought you were going to do it.
I'm not. You're supposed to say, I'm not supposed to say Anthony Mormino will be doing.
Anthony Mormino will be handling a $500 bankroll this afternoon here at the Racebook. Once again, 711 Central Avenue. Come down here and get involved with Anthony's
25 patrons.
25 patrons.
For further information, go to capitalotb.com. I don't think this is the last one. I think it might be the first one, but I don't think it's the last one. A nice weekday treat, and see if we can have the same type of fortune we had Belmont Stakes Day the last time we were up to bat for Capital Off-Track Betting. One thing I'll say, I do appreciate our boss, John Signor, picking a non-Wednesday, or I'd like to say a non-day after days off. And if you watched the racing in New York yesterday, and kudos to a couple of jocks who I think were completely dialed in, David Cohen, Junior Alvarado, Cornelio Velasquez. I think yesterday you saw what we like to say is our grandfather or father's Aqueduct Inner Dirt Track. How good was the rail yesterday. You had 50-1 shots running on the rail and really never losing position. You had horses stand up to incredible two-turn pace efforts. And you saw a couple of jockeys that saw a clear path and just decided that I don't want to go the overland route. They stayed down inside. Some were rewarded, some were not. Abel Castellano in the opener gave David Cohen an early Christmas present when his horse drifted out. I think one beat after David Cohen was deciding, I've waited long enough, I'm going to go outside. And just as he was nudging his horse outside, Abel Castellano's runner drifted out, and David Cohen's like, no, I get the rail. Delved back on the inside and got the job done. So hopefully the racetrack will play the same way, because inside was extraordinarily good in New York yesterday. And hopefully we can use our handicapping skills and get horses at a price. And as I said, dial into the jockeys who you believe are paying attention. We saw multiples of those yesterday, and hopefully we can go forward this afternoon. $500 this afternoon to bet for 25 lucky patrons for Capital OTB.
I think the moisture that they got down in New York, when I saw the racetrack yesterday, it had a real nice tone to it. The color of it had a nice tone to it. That moisture in helps keep that racetrack tight. As we know, as it gets deeper in the winter, if there's no precipitation, it has a tendency to kind of get loose and sandy and kind of beachy, and that, so it does change. But right now, I think you're absolutely 100% right. When I saw the races yesterday, just the color of the inner dirt was very, very pleasing to the eye. Much like, you're not getting that beachy, sandy effect quite yet, and I think that's due to the moisture. But let's start with Gulfstream Park today. 10 race card. The opener is 7 furlongs. It's a maiden special weight event for 2-year-olds.
These are 2-year-olds going 7/8 of a mile, so it will pique my interest in a big fashion. When I got done handicapping it, it was 8-3-1, and we're going to a first-time starter by the brilliant, smart strike. Todd Pletcher sends out this runner with Joel Rosario in the saddle. I guess the Javier Castellano wagon train from the other day. I think Castellano won 3 in a row to wrap it up. I think 2 were with Todd Pletcher. But this first-time starter goes out this afternoon for the Pletcher barn with what I think is the best jockey in the land. He's been working at Palmettos. And remember, my thought for the Todd Pletcher operation, which is about a 30% operation for the year. But down at Gulfstream Park, they are King Kong, his barn. So this first-time starter, we might actually receive 4-1 on the morning line for my top pick, number 8, Hollywood Idol. For a second, another firster, Todd Pletcher's Javier Castellano horse, number 3. Coach Inge is how I'm going to pronounce this horse, maybe like the baseball player, an offspring of Big Brown. Draws down inside, has been working out steadily at Palmettos for the career debut. And for third, the rail, number 1, H-Town Brown, making the second career start after a nice debut at 4-1 for this offspring of Big Brown. And you'd like to think that this horse probably liked the education out of the first race, but unfortunately the newcomers he's meeting from the Todd Pletcher barn make it less attractive. 8-3-1 in the opener from Gulfstream.
Yeah, an intriguing maiden special weight 2-year-old race opening up Gulfstream Park. Let's move along to race number 2. It is 1 mile on the turf. It is a claiming event for 3 and up, which have never won 3 races. The claiming price is $30,000 down to $25,000.
Full field of 12 with 3 also eligibles, 13 through 15. My picks are 7, 12, and 1. And Jupiter gets my top call. Been around the track often. We've seen its horse on our radar screen. Hasn't started since September 2nd. Comes off of the layoff at Gulfstream Park. It might not be today at 12-1, but this horse ran very well, wrapping up the Gulfstream Park meet last year. A couple starts down at Monmouth Park through the spring and summer, and now comes off of a freshening this afternoon. My top pick. My second pick, we draw the outside here, and at least we're not going 7.5, but we are going a mile in here, and it's the 12 going out for Michael Maker. This was the triumvirate of Maker, Ramsey, and Castellano in here, who is winning at, it might even be better. No, 38% sounds right, because they'll have the stats from Sunday wrapped up here. But an offspring of Scirocco, and for those of us that cashed in the All-European Superfecta in the 2005 Breeders' Cup Turf, you'll remember this German offspring. Now, we do have to cut out from the outside now. For me, this is a perfect example with a brilliant jockey riding in good form right now. Let's watch Javier Castellano. Let's see if he takes the Mormino 45-degree angle. All indicators to me are pointing that we don't have early speed and we're hung out wide. See if Castellano just take your chances getting through traffic versus take your chances wide, wide, and wide. For third, number 1, King of All Diamonds, Eddie Plesa sends out this runner, and if you haven't been following the first month, now remember, the daily racing form is starting this meet on November 30th. We know they've been running through the summer on weekends, but the stats for the daily racing form commenced on November 30th, and Eddie Plesa with Paco Lopez, the two of them have been white hot, 7, 12, and 1 in a very interesting restricted claimer.
Yeah, Eddie Plesa, Paco Lopez, very, very tough tandem there. Moving along to race number 3 at Gulfstream Park, mile and a 16th on the turf. For 3 and up, which has never won 2 races, the claiming price is $16,000.
And this is nearly as tough because, yes, they're running a 16th of a mile farther than the previous race, but the rails are at the maximum distance of 108, and I am toward the outside here. It's a full field of 12, which gives you insight. You would think with a 16th of a mile farther to run, they could bring in 2 more horses, let's say, but you can't with the rails at 108 feet, so the also eligibles are 13 through. 8, 12, and 9 for me. Solicitation gets my top pick. Love the most recent losing effort at better than 16 to 1. Comes back 13 days later. We are 0 for 14 starts at Gulfstream Park, but we have hit the board in 50% of those 14 starts. For second, I draw the outside. Joe Bravo has the mount of number 12, El Toscano. 2 races back, a good effort off the turf, and then followed it up with a better-than-look 7-5 effort off the board when getting a rough trip. For a third, number 9, Saturday at Bernie's. I guess you don't get the whole weekend with this runner. Making the first turf start since a 1-mile effort at Saratoga when pressing the pace from an outside post position. I thought this horse hung on very deep into the stretch before getting overrun. 8, 12, 9 in the third.
Moving along to race number 4 at Gulfstream Park, mile and the 16th. This is a maiden special weight event for 2-year-old fillies.
And one of the things about the 2-year-old races, we have 7 furlongs in the opener maiden special weights. Now we're going to go 2 turns. I think until about 8 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday, many people were looking for a 2-year-old to develop into top flight. But after seeing Shared Belief, I think a lot of people have found him. 7-3-5 for me. And Quinn Cat is 10 to 1, making the 8th start in the career, the veteran in the group. And that might dissuade many people. 4 for 7 runner-up might dissuade even more people. But I like some of the efforts in stakes races and now gets to root 2 turns for an offspring of the Wildcat. You might think that might be a bridge too far, but in the My Dear Girl Stakes was second best behind a runaway winner. For second, number 3, Please Explain. Tom Proctor sends out this runner who has never been off the board in 3 previous starts. And for third, number 5, House Rules. Mr. Jerkin sends out this runner for the 3rd start, 2nd time Lasix. And if you've noticed, as much as Mr. Jerkins through the last many, many years has used young jockeys, etc. on the way up, he has used Alex Solis very often of late. 7-3-5 in the 4th.
That's going to take us to race number 5 at Gulfstream Park. 6 furlongs. It is a claiming event for 3 and up, which have never won 3 races or which have not won a race since July 14th. The claiming price is $6,250.
And when I saw the morning line on my top pick, it's borderline unbelievable to me, but I won't argue. 6, 2, and 8, ladies and gentlemen. And the 6th is Dangerous Trick, who is a gigantic 20 to 1 on the morning line. Let's look at the last couple of races for this runner. 2 races back at Gulfstream Park. Yes, it was going a 1-turn mile, but he ran very, very well. And when he shortened up to go 6, he ran very, very well, except for a horrible trip in there. Now, I did think that trip, that last placing, that beaten length would help on the price, but I was thinking like 6 or 8 to 1. These are $62.50 claimers, ladies and gentlemen, at Gulfstream for a horse who's already shown he likes the racetrack. He's already run well in claiming race, and his nearly 30 to 1 effort most recently is very, very understandable. And before that, razor sharp. So we'll be happy to take it, I guess. So number 6, Dangerous Trick, who is 20 to 1 on the morning line, gets my top pick. For second, number 2, Distinctive Move. Kurt Zaidi sends out this runner, and Kurt has been going very well with his runners at this meet. It makes only the second start since the middle of August. That was a nose defeat under the line at 7-10. The Stewarts eradicated that and put this horse up on October 27th. For third, number 8, Bristol Dancer. First off, the 62.50 claim, 6-2-8 in this afternoon's 5th from Gulfstream.
There you have Anthony's selections, races 1 through 5 at Gulfstream Park. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up today's Gulfstream Park card. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV network.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Thanks again for joining us on this Thursday morning. Before the break, Anthony gave you his selections for Gulfstream races 1 through 5. Let's move along to race number 6. It is 1 mile. It is a starter optional claiming race. Fillies and mares 3 and up, which is started for a claim price of $10,000 or less in 2012 and 2013.
653, my selections in here, and number 6 is Secret Memory. Almost sounds like oxymoron, but not quite. Sharp effort of late, excluding one. The last 4 or 5 efforts, 80% of them have been razor sharp, including a good 4th place finish most recently when stepping up to this type of condition. And, when we run in New York, I like to make special note that New York, as of this moment, is still a racing jurisdiction where they run for optional claiming at the same level of starter allowance. Most other jurisdictions do not, and I think that is a big distinction, and this race is one of those. Secret Memory, to me, coming out of the starter allowance condition, running 4th most recently at 17-1, off of a little bit of freshing. I think we move forward this afternoon in a very competitive field. Talked about it yesterday. It is difficult for me to advocate the idea of when you think a race is very even, on balance, before the race, that is, to take short price horses. So Secret Memory, I think, is going to run better, is going to get a mile today, and I've said this before about pace, and I love pace. Yes, you're asking to go a farther distance, but deceleration, because a strong pace in shorter races typically lend to poor finishing position. But if you get a softer pace, you can go farther well. And I do like the Stallion Cinnamon Secret. For second, number 5, Black Anna Splash, going out for the first start since going 2 turns at Parks in an entry-level allowance. That was following a brilliant 2-turn mile victory at Monmouth Park for a tag. For third, number 3, Jill's Image. Jose Garcia has the mount here, going out, trying to make it 2 in a row. And I've said this before, 30 years ago, this horse would have been 20-1. first time versus winners, breaking the maiden for a tag. But I've said it before, I don't mind horses. 1 for 27 is a little tick, but it's about the athlete going in the correct direction. So you might have, in this case, 12 or 14 races where you didn't even know which way was up, but we are clearly peaking now, and I think we will get stronger than 12-1. And by stronger for me, I mean a higher price, 653.
That's going to take us to race number 7 at Gulfstream. 6 furlongs. It is a claiming event for 2-year-old fillies, which have never won 2 races. The claiming price is $40,000.
439, ladies and gentlemen, for me, and I say this often about 2-year-olds when it comes to the monetary angle. I pay very little attention. We're going to see it at some point. You'll see optional claimers 75, non-winners are 1, other than easily cut the dollar amount in half. I think that is just protecting the owners. I think you'll see, if you made a database of all the horses that run for the 75 tag, see where they are down the road. It's going to be much lower. But they're 2-year-olds. They want, if you're going to lose the horse, I think they want the owners to get some money out of it. 439, looking at this as really a bottom level restricted claimer. The 4 in here making the 3rd career start, broke the maiden for a tag. Tried entry level allowance. I don't know how it would have worked out from the rail on a clear, fast racetrack, but in the slop, it didn't work out well at all. And apparently, the connections are not willing to give that a try again with a better post position on a clear, fast racetrack, because the offspring of In Summation in the 3rd career start, I think, is in position to bounce back close to the debut. The reason I say close is because a repeat of the debut, I think, gets us home. 4 is second, number 3, Ultra Violet, who is going to be double digits on the board here. 2nd time versus winners after breaking the maiden 2 races back. Tried 7/8 at Calder. Poor effort here, but this horse could bounce forward at a big price. And for 3rd, number 9, you never learn. Young Stephen DeMoro sends out this offspring of Keyed Entry, who has run 4 times at Gulfstream Park. 3 of them have hit the board. The only time it didn't, we had blinkers on, were the beaten favorite. So 4, 3, 9 in race 7 from Gulfstream.
Let's move along to race number 8 at Gulfstream Park. 1 1/16 on the turf is an allowance optional claiming event for 3 and up that are eligible for the entry level allowance or a claiming price of $25,000.
And in here we have 13 and 14 are main track only. 15 and 16 are also eligible. This is a full field of 12. Remember, the rails are set for the mile, and 16 races at 108 feet. And you could probably do 20 minutes on this race alone. 7, 2, and 6, my selections. And Silver Freak gets the top call, and I was slow to pull the trigger on this horse for a couple reasons. One is I think it's a very competitive race, and going back to my old line of, if you think the race is 5 or 6 horses deep, it's tough to take a short price. And I do think 3-1 is a little short here. I think it's the right price, but it's short. The reason I got over that hurdle was I love the connections trainer Brian Lynch. Middle distance turf for an offspring, a badge of silver, hits me right between the eyes. A brilliant, brilliant stallion in that foal. Joel Rosario gets them out. First time this horse is shipped out of Woodbine. It is a tough hurdle to get over, and maybe because of the depth of the field, we'll get maybe 4.5-1 on this runner, because he doesn't stick out, like he's, much the best in this race. But as I said, I adore the badge of silvers going middle distance turf. For 2nd, number 4, Chairman Gary going out for the brilliant Graham Motion, coming off of a very sharp effort at better than 20-1 at Keeneland in a runner-up position. Joe Rocco Jr. was aboard then, scheduled to have the mount today. And for 3rd, and this could turn out to be a mistake for yours truly. This maybe should have been the horse I should have put on top. If they bet Silver Freak and don't bet Citrus Drive, to me, folks, you know how I fall. I want to bet the horses that are dead on the board, because Citrus Drive, for the brilliant Michael Trambetta, who does his work in the Mid-Atlantic, has never missed a beat in 3 starts, whether on the poly, sprinting, or the turf debut at Laurel, going 9. Off the board, lost all the money by less than 2 lengths. For an offspring, a lemon drop kid, draws very well in here, gets an excellent jockey, excellent connections, live oak plantation. And if there is that much disparity between my top pick and third pick, I say this often about uncoupled entries, always take the longer price. 7, 2, 6 in an outstanding 8th race.
Yeah, Anthony, I've done that myself. You make your picks, you do your notes, then you sit here at the desk and you look in the race and you go, wait a minute, I think maybe my third choice is a little bit better. So you're calling an audible, that's all.
Well, I also think
you're thinking of price.
atypical of public handicappers is I don't want the shorter price ever.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's why I say things like, I want my horse to be dead on the board. I've said this before about horses that are 0 for 17. And I talked about him earlier, the 1 for 27 runner. As long as you're going in the right direction, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Like I said, to me, you're supposed to be more engaged when your horse is 20 to 1 on the board than reflective going, oh, we're dead on the board. Good. Good. It's like, who cares what they think?
Let's move along to race number 9 at Gulfstream Park. 1 mile on the turf. This is an allowance optional claiming event for 2-year-old fillies that are eligible for the entry-level allowance, or the claiming price is $75,000.
Outstanding race in here. Field of 12, 13 is an MTO. 6, 11, 9, another wide open race, and I'm going the Joel Rosario angle with number 6, Duff 1. Gary Contessa sends out this runner for the first race outside of Naira. For second, number 11, Fingers Crossed. Luis Saez, who is off to a very, very nice start down there. Akira McLaughlin's runner takes on winners for the first time after breaking the maiden at the end of the Belmont meet. For third, number 9, 20 to 1. And you talk about risk factors in here. An offspring of Langfjord going middle distance turf, and the turf debut this afternoon. Look out, ladies and gentlemen. This horse, watch this horse all the way around the racetrack. And as I said, if it's a big price, you want to be on board today, because if it's a big price and you run terrifically, second or third, chances are you won't be a good price this afternoon. But this is a case where, how about we leave off the 3, the 4, I have no idea what to make of the 5, except that Dylan Davis and Wesley Water going great at this meet already. But maybe the race of the day, 6, 11, 9.
Let's take a look at the finale at Gulfstream Park. Race number 10. We're going to stay on the turf. Mile and a 16th. It is a claiming event for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 2 races. The claiming price is $16,000.
And we are starting to see, right before my eyes, the evolution at Gulfstream Park. And the evolution for me is the field size down there. And in particular, yes, in the turf races in here, the 13 is an MTO. 14 through 16 are also eligibles. And I mentioned with these mile 16th races with the rail at 108, we get 12. 7, 2, 3 are my selections in the finale. Joel Rosario has a 12 to 1 shot, which is good for me, a horse who's already run on the turf. An offspring of Powers Court. If you remember, great success in the Arlington Million. Some would tell you great success twice in the Arlington Million, but you only cashed once. And in the Breeders' Cup, this horse making only the second start since September 5th. The comeback race, starting from the parking lot, going a mile at Laurel, got up to get just beat 2 lengths by Daniel Santino, who Daniel Santino showed his brilliance by getting out of the winter in the Mid-Atlantic and getting down to the Gulf Coast of Florida. But number 7, my top pick for second. Number 2, Uptown Charmer. Couple quick notes in here on the bottom side. Twining, if you remember, he was the good Darley runner in 1994 who was going in the right direction before he faced Holy Bull in the Dwyer Stakes. The point I'm trying to make is I'm pretty sure Twining was a son of Prescott, who was a son of Fabiano. The bottom side is turf very, very strongly here. I know we're 0 for 14 on the turf, but I've said this before, especially with turf racing, the nature of how it's run, traffic, pace. A lot of these efforts, including the off-the-board efforts, are good enough to step up today. And for third, number 3, Aunt Anna, who was almost in the mix to be higher than this 20 to 1 shot. An offspring of Notional, who's the son of In Excess. And In Excess was great in New York in 91 on the dirt, but he is a fantastic turf influence, and he was a pretty good turf runner out of Santa Anita before they found the dirt here. 7, 2, 3 in just a fantastic second half of today's card at Gulfstream Park. To me is just, well, I got to bet Aqueduct today. Those are the rules by the State Racing and Wagering Board. That's fine. We'll make hay with that. But had we had the opportunity to take 5 bills to Gulfstream Park, watch the action today. I think it's going to be very, very, very contentious, wide open, especially the turf races.
Should be fun. And there you have it, Anthony's selections for today's Gulfstream Park card. We are going to take another break. When we come back, you'll get my picks for Aqueduct. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV network.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Jeff Carl, I am Anthony Mormino, and I was thinking of Press Card, not Twining. Press Card was the horse that was on a nice winning streak before Holy Bull spit him out in the Dwyer. He never turned out to be the same. Matter of fact, they got to the turf with him. They stayed away. Twining was the little son of Courtly D, who was, in my lifetime, probably one of the 3 greatest producing broodmares ever. I mean, to me, it's Mies, Courtly D, and a mare named Tussaud, who are like the 3 greatest producing mares ever. In New York, Jeff, you mentioned it's good.
Track is listed as good right now on their website, so maybe they got some moisture last night. I was trying to take a look at the Weather Channel app just before we came on. I'll take a look during our break and see if there's any kind of weather conditions we need to pay attention to. But right now it is listed as good, Anthony.
As I said, I'm certainly hoping the track hasn't changed and we can get some price horses who have jockeys aboard who are going to go down for the inside. The opener will be 3-year-olds and upclaimers in for $12,500, racing the popular 6 furlongs.
Anthony, I'm sorry I didn't see any price horses in the Aqueduct opener here. I got the David Jacobson entrance here as my top 2 picks, the 4-1 entry and the number 6. Number 4, Winning Touch. I will say this is just one of them old-fashioned open claiming events. There's no particular stipulations being in it, just flat-out open, 12-5. The number 4, Winning Touch, is his first start for Jacobson was a winning one at this 12-5 level in his last start at the end of November. So I think if he stays the course, he's going to be very tough. I'm going to put him on top. And again, I didn't see an awful lot in here to get me excited as far as price-wise. For second, I have the David Jacobson entry of Shankopotamus and Majestic Number. Which one scratches? I'm not sure because Cornelio Velasquez is named on both of them. Either one could be tough. They both have enough speed in here, so you don't. Obviously, he's not going to run both of them. Shankopotamus is dropping down to 12-5 level, and he does like a little bit of moisture in the track. Majestic Number, he's coming out of a win for $20,000, so obviously he fits at this level too. If I had to make a little bit of a guess, I'm thinking he's going to run Majestic Number. So Majestic Number will probably take the lead with Winning Touch tracking him along the way. Winning Touch passes him late. They finished 1-2. For third, I went with the number 6, Island Sunset. coming back in just 6 days. And yeah, he was probably overmatched in an effort he had for optional claim 20,000 starter allowance in his last event. But you know what? He was well beaten, and they didn't push him down the lane, so maybe it left something in the tank coming back 6 days later, dropping him down to 12.5, and maybe he can pick up the pieces for third. As I said, Anthony, it doesn't look like they really, emptied him out last time out. So coming back in 6 days and dropping down to 12.5, maybe he can be on the board for 1 entry and 6 in the Aqueduct opener.
Second half of the early daily double, and I would guess that in the first 3 decades of the inner dirt track, older horses probably went 5.5 furlongs 0 times. I mean, I really think maybe 0 times from the middle 70s to the middle part of the previous decade. But now we have 3-year-olds and up maiden claimers in for 12.5, dashing 5.5.
I did put a little bit of a price horse on top here. I went 6-7 with the 1 entry. Number 6, Hunter Gray. You know what? He didn't even finish his last race, which was a state-bred maiden special weight, but he's dropping down to 12.5. He's going to be shortening up, and in his last race, it's only his second start. He broke poorly from the 1 hole, and then he did at least make a decent kind of middle move up the backstretch, got into contention, and then he stopped like somebody shot him, Anthony, but that was going a mile, and at least he got something out of the race. His first start, mid-November on the turf for maiden 40, he never really got involved. But just the fact that he was off poorly, he showed a little something. He did run up and got himself into contention and then just flattened out. Jackie Phil Teeter just eased up on him. So, you know what? I'm searching for a price horse today. These are maiden 12.5s. Anything could happen out there. So let's give a chance to Hunter Gray with the cut back in distance, to drop down in price. And in fact, he did a little bit of running last time out. Maybe he's still eligible to improve. So let's put him in the top spot. For second, I went with the number 7, Papa Doc. He does have some early foot, but you know what, Anthony? I would change tactics on this horse. He displays speed in every single one of his races and really stops very, very quickly. I doubt that Apprentice Manny Esquivel is going to be listening because you generally put a bug boy on a horse and you tell him just, don't think, just do, rider, and he'll probably go. If this was my horse, I'd change tactics. I would take him back off the pace and see if he can finish up. His best effort puts him in the picture. And for third, even money on the David Jacobson entry of the plain one, Saint Sincere, who is said he is cross-entered to run at Laurel Park today, but he did scratch out of that race, so I expect to see him here. He's 0 for 14. He's vulnerable. Chief Scout, the 1A, if they run him, he was claimed last time out for $16,000. And he got beat 14 lengths. I mean, I can't take those horses at even money, so I'm going to take a shot with a price horse. 6-7, 1 entry in the Aqueduct second race.
On to the third race this afternoon. 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and Mares, open company. Optional claimers 35. Non-winners 3 lifetime, racing 6.
1, 4, and 6 here. The number 1, Candy and Thunder. Candy and Thunder is in for the $35,000 portion of this race, dropping down from 62.5. It's going to be coming from off the pace. So, I mean, if the track is playing the speed, it might not fit into him. But I like the fact that he has the 1 hole. He's going to be able to save ground around there. I'm hoping he's going to get some pace in front of him to run at. I like the fact that he's got Cornelio Velasquez aboard, who we've talked about many times. Is just one of the best finishers on the NYRA circuit, especially in the wintertime when maybe Joel Rosario's out of town. Cornelio Velasquez can really finish on a horse, and I expect him to have Candy and Thunder rolling down the lane at 3-1. For second, I went with the number 4, Masasi. Masasi fits the never win 3 lifetime allowance portion of this race, and I think Masasi's going to allow PJ Super Ego, the number 5 horse, to take the lead and probably track that one around there. Looks like she is best when she has a little bit of a target in front of her. She is seeking her 3rd straight race. It took her quite a while to break her maiden, but then she came back and won the entry level allowance race. So she is in good form right now. Let's put her in the 2nd spot. And for third, I'll go with the number 6, Love Contract. She's in for the $35,000 portion, and she finished 3rd behind 5-Star Mama in her last race at Aqueduct. 5-Star Mama went on to win a stake race at Penn National, $150,000 stake for trainer Jenna Antonucci. And last time out, Love Contract, that was easily her best effort of the year. She was off from October of 2012 to August of 2013. This is her 4th race off that layoff, and maybe she's rounding in the top form. So at 20-1, I think she's an interesting horse to throw in your mix. Probably just getting to her best form coming off that layoff and running a good third behind a solid horse in 5-Star Mama. 1, 4, and 6, Anthony, in the 3rd race.
On to the 4th race this afternoon. We're going to have open company. 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares. Maiden claimers in for 12-5, racing a mile 70.
I went 1, 2, and 6 here. The number 1, Andromeda's Coming. Had an even effort sprinting at State Bred Maiden 20,000 on September 15th, so mid-September. Has been off ever since. She's going to get Lasix today for the very first time in her 4th career start. She's got the 1 post, and these are maiden 12-5, so it's a very suspect field. In fact, the number 4, Bounty Pink, is your 7-5 morning line favorite. And you know what, Anthony, she was eased in her last start in May for maiden 25,000. So, I mean, I can't make a horse 7-5 that hasn't run since May and didn't even make the circuit that day, and now being cut in half coming off a layoff. If she's good enough, I'm going to let her beat me, but I've got to see it at least once before I can put her in the mix, especially at 7-5. So why not take a shot with Andromeda's Coming? There's a couple of angles there, stretching out off an even effort, coming down, at 12-5. You've got the 1 hole, you've got Lasix, you got Eddie Castro, who does a very nice job. So let's take a shot with the Andromeda's Coming. For second, I'll go with the number 2, High Inflation. 0 for 17 lifetime. 9 times this filly has been 2nd or 3rd, including a 2nd in her previous start. Now she's going to be stretching out, and I don't know why. This is the daughter of Touch Gold out of an unbridled mare. Why she was been spending most of her career running in sprint races beyond me, especially when she runs nice and evenly. In sprint races, that usually means that bodes well for them when they stretch out. She tried a couple times last year on the turf. And didn't do it, but again, this is a much easier bunch. So let's put High Inflation in the 2nd spot. For 3rd, let's go with the number 6, Lovely Athena. Anthony, you got your boy Men Chen aboard. Remember Men Chen with that $200 winner last week? And I waited a while for her to make her career debut. She was in several times and finally got a chance to run on December 8th. But she really didn't show anything that day. In fact, I think she's still running. She will be adding blinkers today, and the experience certainly didn't hurt her to at least get out there and see what a race was all about. And this is a real leap of faith. But again, this is a very suspect bunch. So why not throw in, a big long shot to make maybe a decent triple? Especially when I think, Anthony, the number 4, Bounty Pink, you have to think it's 7-5, a horse that didn't even make the course back in May, then coming back for half the price can be a little bit of a question mark. 1, 2, and 6 in the Aqueduct 4th race.
Randy Prasad, a couple winners yesterday. On to the 5th race this afternoon. 3-year-olds and up, open claimers in for 16. Non-winners of 2 lifetime, racing a mile 16.
I went 4, 3, and 2 here, Anthony. The number 4, Prudent Investor. Again, David Jacobs, and you're getting 8-5 in the morning line. Dropping down from 35,000 into a never won 2 life for 16,000. And Anthony, one thing I'm noticing now with the changing of the guard in the racing office, you're not really seeing those 3-part claiming races right now. This is this is your basic never win 2 lifetime. So it's getting a little bit simpler to read and understand. I think it helps as far as going back in past performance. I know Seth Merrill and I talked about this. Horses are running those 3-part claiming races. You not necessarily knew which part they were eligible for when it came back and ran the next time. It just had that B. So I just think it makes it simpler and it's a little bit easier to understand to get rid of that 3rd part. And a lot of times, Anthony, that 3rd part, when there was a turf race and it came off the turf, made no sense anyway. But again, I only saw 3 horses in this race that I thought could even be on the board. I put Prudent Investor on top. You can't get past David Jakes and the drop down from 35,000. For second, I'll go with the number 3, Summer Sands. 8-1 in the morning line. Also dropping down from the 35,000 level. Could get, a pretty good setup. Prudent Investor's got speed. My 3rd choice, number 2, Street Thug, has speed also. So if the track is playing fairly, let's put Summer Sands in the 2nd spot. Maybe he can pick up some pieces and be 2nd. And for 3rd, I throw in the number 3, Street Thug. This one just absolutely looks like they're just trying to unload this Son of Street sense. dropping down the $16,000 level. You know, he's got, you know, he's running against Long River in his last race. 3 starts back, he ran against Cross Traffic, you know, trained by Todd Pletcher. I think they're just absolutely looking to unload this horse. Ridden by Cornelia Velasquez, who doesn't ride an awful lot of Todd Pletcher's horses, but Cornelia will let a sore one run. So you have to think there's a reason they're putting this horse in for $16,000. Obviously, his best is good enough to win this race, but this looks just completely like they're trying to dump this horse. 4, 3, and 2 for me in the Aqueduct Fit.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from Aqueduct. Please stay tuned.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report alongside Jeff Carl. I am Anthony Mormino, midway through Thursday afternoon's card at the Big A, race number 6, New York State bred 2-year-old fillies, maiden claimers, dashing 5.5.
I have 4, 7, and 8 here, Anthony. Number 4, Heartfelt Jazz, just ran a week ago and it moved from trainer Gary Gullo's barn into Gary Contessa's barn. Both of them, I think, do a very good job. So that's a parallel move. I don't exactly understand why, but you never know what the reasons are. And, you know, Heartfelt Jazz, just a week ago, had a very decent debut race for Open Maiden 12-5. Broke okay that day, but then was just ridden into a horrible spot by apprentice jockey Wilmer Garcia. Had to steady. You know, Anthony, when you're going into a turn, especially on a first-time starter or a young horse, you just got to be so decisive. You got to give them a little bit of some spacing. They lack a lot of experience. And Wilmer, I know you're an apprentice, but you're a 5-pound apprentice, and you can't be making moves like that if you want to be successful on this circuit. So, you know what? But they left him on. They fired the trainer, but they kept the jock on. I would have done the opposite. I would have fired the jock and kept the trainer. But that being said, it was a decent debut effort because Heartfelt Jazz was able to come back on after having that traffic issues and only get beat 2 lengths and finish third. And yeah, that was a 12-5 open. Now it's moving the state bred 25,000. I'd have to think that's a comparable level. So let's put the number 4, Heartfelt Jazz on top at 5-1. For second, I'm going to go to the number 7, Very Precious, one of 2 Chris Engelhardt first-time starters I have in my mix. I've always said I like first-time starters and maiden claiming events. This one is by One Nice Cat. Decent enough, steady works to have me throw in the mix. Got Chucky Lopez aboard, so you know Chucky's not going to be shy about getting this horse involved. Posted well toward the outside, won't be getting a lot of kickback. So look for Chucky to send her right on out of there. And for third, I have the other Chris Engelhardt first-time starter, the number 8, Backyard Birdie. bred to run longer. This is a daughter of Birdstone out of a Smart Strike mare, so you have to think her longer races are going to be her better races. But maybe, again, posted well toward the outside, should be able to clunk along and maybe get up for third. I left the number 2, Positive Vibration, on my mix, the 9-5 morning line favorite. You know, a lot of people are going to jump on because he was second at this level last time out. But, you know, I think there's horses in here that are still eligible to improve or show something first time out to make them a little bit more interesting than the 9-5 morning line favorite, the number 2, Positive Vibration. So, Anthony, I went 4, 7, and 8 in the Aqueduct 6th race.
On to the 7th race, Open Company, 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and mares, claimers in for $35,000. Capital B, racing a mile 70.
And as I mentioned earlier, there's only 2 parts to this condition. We're not seeing as many of those 3-part claiming conditions. This one is, you know, 3 and up, which have never won 2 races or straight 3-year-olds. I did go out to the outside to the number 7, Girl Code. She fits the second part of this condition where she is a 3-year-old but has 2 career wins. And she ran well on the inner dirt last season. She's dropping down from 50,000. She's going to stretch back out today. Going to take the blinkers off, so she should be able to relax a little bit. They tried them last time out. Sprinted her. Maybe she showed a little bit more early foot than they anticipated. They're going to stretch her back out. They're going to take the blinkers off. And what I like, Anthony, is the fact they're directly inside her. The number 6 horse is ridden by Chucky Lopez. So, you know, Chucky's going to be sending out there, especially with a horse with speed. And I think it's going to enable my top choice, Girl Code, to not get hung out wide. If Chucky clears the field and moves over, then David Cohn will be able to kind of just slide out over nice and easily and get himself into a very opportune position. So let's put the number 7, Girl Code, on top. For second, I went with the number 2, Opalite. Opalite fits the first part of this condition with only 1 win in her 17-race career, but she did break her maiden on March 1st on the inner track, so that does bode well for her. She's been off since May, though, so I expect her to be a little short. I think she's coming back at the proper level, but a mile and 70 yards off a long layoff. I think the quality is there, but I don't know if she's going to be quite 100% tight enough. But I'm going to put her in the second spot behind Girl Code. For third, I went with the number 5, That's the Boss. Going from turf to dirt, but I think the pedigree is okay for that. This is a daughter of Street Boss out of a Bertrando mare. You know, her first 2 starts of her career were on the dirt, but you know, that was a 2-year-old in her first and second start, and this is a different horse, I think, probably this year as a 3-year-old. Definitely has matured quite a bit. Again, with that pedigree, I think she's going to be able to make the transition back to the dirt. Let's go 7, 2, and 5 in the Aqueduct 7th race.
On to the 8th race, Open Company, 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and mares, optional claimers in for 25. Non-winners of 1 other than racing 6.
2, 6, and 9. I did put the prohibitive favorite, even money, number 2, La Verdad, on top. Truth is, Anthony, she's going to be taking on Open Company, and she's just going to beat them because, I mean, she's pretty much gone through her state-bred conditions. The only loss of her career was in her first start, and then she's been just dynamic ever since. And I think she's going to be a very, very nice New York bred filly that we're going to see in New York bred stakes action throughout the course of 2014 if she stays healthy. So I'm going to put her on top. For second, I went with the number 6, Seasoned Warrior. Seasoned Warrior was second to Masasi, who was one of my choices earlier in the card. And you know what? She hasn't been the same filly at 3 that she was at 2. This is a filly that ran the Spinaway. She was third in the Matron. She ran the Pocahontas. Went to the bench, and she just quite hasn't been the same horse that she was as a 2-year-old. A decent second last time at this level. Again, 2 seconds in a row, but she's facing a tough one today. I mean, that's kind of an easy exacta, I think, for me, the 2-6. For third, I'll go with the number 9, Native One. Again, the same can be said for her as I said about Seasoned Warrior. Just not the same horse she appears to be as a 2-year-old. Anthony, I remember when this filly broke her maiden on July 4th of 2012 in her career debut. Won by 6 that day. You know, there was a pretty nice buzz about her. It was a first-time starter by Christophe Clement and won very, very nicely. Obviously, something went afoul either that day or subsequently. She's only made 2 starts since then. Came back in both times in June. You know what? If I harken back to that maiden win, I know there's some quality there. But again, she just doesn't seem to be quite the filly she was that day. Hopefully this race will get her going in the right direction, but I can't put her any higher than third. 2, 6, and 9 in the Aqueduct 8th race.
On to the finale, open company, 3-year-olds and up, in for a maiden claiming tag of 12.5, racing a mile 70.
I went 10, 8, and 4. The number 10, Dapper Draper. I think it is his day to look dapper in the winner's circle. He's 0 for 8 lifetime, but I think he's going to get a field today. He's going to beat. He was a bit ranked last time. He finished 3rd behind Muscles Marinaro, who I didn't have in my mix because Muscles Marinaro's run 11 times, hasn't reached the winner's circle. But I think taking the blinkers off today, the outside post, I think Cornelius, he's going to stay nice and clean today and get Dapper Draper into the winner's circle. For second, I went with the number 8, Do It for Dennis, 12-1 in the morning line. You know, at least he improved in his second start. I mean, he got pummeled by 40 lengths on the turf at maiden special weight state breds. And then they came back at this maiden $16,000 level. And he ran evenly, was 4th. But you know, it was a major, major improvement. Owned and trained by Dennis Laumann, therefore the name Do It for Dennis. Hopefully he can get on the board today at a decent price for us. And for third to number 4, Commodus. This is the son of Big Brown out of an Awesome Again mare. So the stretch out should be right in his wheelhouse. And you know what, Anthony? He was 3rd for maiden 4,500 in his last start at Finger Lakes. And I think he's got a shot to being aboard here on the NYRA circuit. 10, 8, and 4 in the Aqueduct finale.
All right, that wraps up the selections this afternoon on Capital Off-Track Betting. Also, quick note that later on this afternoon on the internet side, Capital Off-Track Betting has given me $500 to bet for 25 lucky patrons. Hopefully we will hit a couple out of the ballpark this afternoon. Hopefully the racetrack doesn't change. But if it does change, it'll be my job to recognize that change and make selections going forward. So that'll be on the internet side a little bit after 12 o'clock. I don't have the monitor on, so I have no idea what the television schedule will be this side. We know one thing, Aqueduct and Gulfstream Park will be part of the mix. Also, if you missed any of our selections on the Handicappers Report, please go to capitalotb.com, and there you will find a link for the Handicappers Report Today version. You'll get all of Jeff's selections from New York and my selections from Gulfstream Park. In addition, for wagering on the great sport of horse racing, capitalotbbet.com, a new wagering platform that was launched approximately 7 months ago, a state-of-the-art for you, making the game as easily as could be. Can't do the in-home because I don't have a monitor to read the schedule, so that's not going to work for me this afternoon. Also, in just a moment, Racing Across America with our colleague Seth Merrill, his very special guest, Dave Rodman and John DeSilva. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your racing action.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.